Okay. Um, and I will be paying you an extra hour to do the book study too, on top of like the meetings that we have and or meeting with your admin team um and or your department. So just keep that in mind. If you forgot to take a look at the introduction in chapter one, no worries. We're only kind of doing one chapter each time. So next time we're only reading chapter two. So more than enough time for you to take a look at it if you didn't get to it today. With there being just a few of us, I think what we're going to do this morning is we'll do Thorns and Roses. I enjoy hearing from you guys what's going on in the buildings. And this will be largely an unmuted back and forth between all of us. So feel free to unmute yourself. I'll probably go ahead and call people out to share the Thorns and Roses instead of like when we were all together in person and we could just go around the table. Sometimes it's hard on Zoom, and I'm not a huge fan necessarily of awkward pauses. So we'll start with that. We'll talk a little bit about the new curriculum and pilot update as much as I can tell you. And then we'll do the book study. That's the agenda for today. It should be fairly quick, just depends on how much we feel like talking with the book study and everything. So we'll go ahead and start with Thorns and Roses. I'll go ahead and start with Deb. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and just let us know a positive and maybe a slight negative on it's okay if you can't turn your video off. It's okay. Um, that's fine, Sarah. Thank you. So I'll go to Deb and have you share one positive, one negative since we've come back from winter break and or looking into second semester, however you want to kind of frame it. But I love getting to hear from you guys. Um, yeah. So go ahead, Deb. Your call.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sorry, I have my son in the classroom, so he's fine. He's working. But did you call me for my rose and thorn?
Yes, please.
Oh, well, very good. Well, rose would be just Nicole's. I shared the magic AI and using artificial intelligence. Sorry, I can turn my video on. That seems weird not to. With the staff yesterday. And Nicole and I, in approximately 3 minutes of co-planning, it was awesome because she's coming to talk to the whole staff, like this whole staff development on Friday. And yesterday we did this demo and just like showed how it can help kids to access the text. And the staff, they just were so receptive. Some of them were using Magic AI in different ways and were excited about it. And like at the end, they clapped, like they were just in. And it was this really good sharing moment that felt really positive. So that was wonderful to share Nicole's materials with the staff in that way. A thorn, I just think is there's just like so many launches of things that I want to do and be able to support, and I feel like I don't have the time to dig in and dive deep with all of the things that I want to do and support, if that makes any sense. Like I'd love to do more with my star reading data. There's so many areas, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Great. I want to write that down. I haven't necessarily looked at the star data yet because I know everybody's kind of starting their tests
Yes.
at different times. I think most of you will probably be done by the end of this week, but I'm kind of anxious to get in there and look at some stuff too. And I haven't had training necessarily on doing comparison, like looking at the
Mhm.
comparison data. I think Rebecca and I are doing something with that soon, but I haven't even jumped into it yet, but I am also kind of anxious to see how we're
Yeah.
doing. I don't know. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Is there anything else besides the star data that kind of comes to mind for you on like initiatives and thoughts and implementation? Just no
No,
pressure.
I mean just that message of um from our language arts department, and I think other departments too, of just like we're we are really hungry and anxious for direct staff development and content areas. And just, we talked about it when we were together, just like this model of expecting to only train like, perhaps administrators or however it is
Uh-huh.
not what we've done in the district historically. And we have
Right.
so many capable people. I think that word, I want to, I want to send it back. Like the people want to hear from you, Nicole. You're so good. Like all the people that are so capable and teachers within the district.
Hmm.
Um, so just instead of like expecting one person to be the funnel of all knowledge, I don't think
Yeah.
is a model that really is what we've done historically. And I don't think that's a workable model. That's just
Well, I have some
our
good news
input.
today as we talk
Oh,
about some
good.
dates and things. So,
Good.
so hopefully that will turn that ship
Okay.
around a little bit for you. Okay,
Okay. All
let's
right.
go
Thank
ahead
you.
and hear from Carolyn next.
A rose would be we just finished a really great novel study as a class, and I think as a whole that we really enjoyed reading it. So that was, and we're working on discussions,
Awesome.
which seems to be a big hole for them, like when you want them to talk.
Hmm.
So I've tried it in different ways, and I feel like it's becoming more successful, which is good. And then a thorn would just be like, it's that time of year where you're trying to get everything done and everyone's stressed and
Hmm.
anyway, lots of student emails, parent emails. Anyway, lots of
Okay.
end of the semester worry. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Thank you. Danette, can you go ahead and share your thorns and roses?
Good morning. Um, let's see, a thorn for me. My kids, we came back from break and they are just, for whatever reason, kind of off the wall.
Mm.
So we're working on just getting back into a routine. And it's been a real schlep. And I'm sure being out of the classroom yesterday is really going to have helped that. But we're really working on picking a book to read and reading consistently for the month of January. And we've been doing some reading sprints. And that's been really good for them. We're working on focus. So reading sprint, they do 10 minutes of reading really focused, and they mark how many pages they read and reflect on how that reading went, like how focused they were, what do they remember, are they comprehending? And they've been very receptive to that. 10 minutes they can do.
I
So
love that.
yeah.
I know I'm a nerd and I do those like 24-hour readathons or whatever, and they've done sprints before. And you can go like online and kind of body double with someone on YouTube or whatever that's doing the reading sprint with you. And I love the idea of doing that in the classroom. Do you set up the classroom in any kind of way? Do you have music playing? Do you have anything to help them focus, or is it
I
just
have
quiet?
my timer has lo-fi music, so it's
Yeah.
like quiet music, because some
Yeah.
of them, if it's silent, they have to fill that void.
Yeah. Right. Same.
Um, so so yeah, so that I do that. Um, and then I was going to set them up with reading partners to talk to their reading about, but that they just couldn't pull themselves together enough to do that the other day. So I haven't done
Do
it.
you have like a little like printout for them in their journal to keep track or anything? Or
They're doing an online digital journal right now, but yeah, there's like a chart with the date and the pages they've read and their little reflection.
cool.
And we did 2 rounds. We do 2 rounds in a row, so 10 minutes, a break, and the reflection, and then they try again for 10 minutes to see if they can increase their reading speed or increase their focus.
Nice.
So,
Nice. That's great. Thank you.
mhm.
All right, Sarah, Thorn and Rose.
Hello, good morning.
Hey.
A rose for me would be some writing that my seventh graders are doing. We're kind of digging into the nitty-gritty of getting their realistic fiction stories written, and we're in what I think is the hardest place, which is the starting and the first draft. And I have some prompts and some things I've been doing to kind of help them prepare and get inspired. And it seems to be working. And it's kind of just a lovely moment because certain students who have been disengaged or, who have struggled, like it's just fun to see them utilize the opportunity to use their imagination and do something kind of creative. We did the heart mapping before, and that was a lot of fun. And like, everybody did it and everybody got into it. And I think that helped kind of get them into some positive momentum.
Mhm.
And then a thorn would be that, speaking of STAR testing, I would say, I don't know, not definitely less than half, but somewhere maybe close to a third of students like went down. Um, and then also it was kind of complicated in our building because the reading specialist and I had decided we were going to do sort of like a midpoint test before winter break with the idea that, we had previously been told that the official STAR testing would happen in February.
Mm.
So we wanted to do sort of a check-in since they hadn't tested since September and sort of see in the middle what was going on, only to come back and be told that, the testing needed to happen by the 17th.
Mhm.
And so now I have some students who tested September, December, and now January. So I don't know. They seem like they're handling it okay, but at the same time, the test gets harder. So then I don't know. I don't know. That wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
And some of them strangely went down like not that much, but sometimes it was like they went down compared to December, and some of them went down. They were like, September up in December and then down in January. And you could say, oh, well, maybe it's from being, gone from school or whatever, tests getting harder. I don't know. So and some of it, it's like students that I see working hard and I know they didn't just, not put effort into the test. I saw them test. So that's been a little mysterious. I have had plenty of students go up and showing good progress as well. But yeah, there's a couple students and they're kind of like, why is this happening? I tried really hard and I see them working hard in class and I'm like, maybe we're just going to say it's a bad day. Like, so it's kind of,
I
I
wonder
think,
about like digging into the data a little bit and seeing if there's a specific area. Like if there's only like 5 kids or something, if you want to send me those names, I could look into it and say,
Mhm.
well, just to see if there's like a correlation. Like
Yeah.
maybe they were going hard at nonfiction or something.
Yeah, true.
And
True.
yeah. Yeah.
And there's
Maybe
some I'm not too worried about. Like maybe they went down, 5 points. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like
Yeah.
but it didn't impact their reading level. But
Yeah.
I had a few who dropped.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Interesting.
definitely kids who gained, but I'm
Yeah.
like, this doesn't feel
Yeah.
right. But I imagine any test and sequencing and everything's going to have its pitfalls. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is our first year with this, so
Yeah.
kind of live
Yeah.
and learn. But
Just learning. Yep.
yeah, exactly,
worries.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do want to say I shared a conferencing slideshow that I got pretty sure from you with the department, and it was very well received,
Oh,
which was
nice.
great because I've been kind of talking about conferencing with a few different colleagues, and people are supportive of it, but it's like nobody feels like they have time, and
Yeah.
there are just so many great resources in the slideshow and just kind of creative approaches. So that was definitely helpful. And I think ultimately, it's like conferencing does not have to be fancy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes, honestly, it doesn't have to be precisely tracked.
Yeah.
It's just that.
And I guess, I'd love to work with you guys on thinking about, as we move forward with this new curriculum, if there is space for us to still be doing, kind of like workshop model where we have those opportunities to conference, because it's not, I know we've talked about this before, but workshop doesn't mean teachers college. It's just a pedagogical stance. So is there a way for us to continue having conferencing within the realm of whatever we end up picking for the curriculum? I think so, but then again, as Deb said earlier, it would require a little bit more of training for everybody to wrap their heads around what conferencing looks like, I think. So just some thoughts. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's really powerful. So
yeah, I do too. I don't know how you do really good writing curriculum if you're not meeting with the kids, in small group at least, if not, one-on-one. So I don't know, something for us to think about. All right, last but not least, Megan, Thorn and Rose.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I would say last week I would go home and regularly say like my students forgot how to human over break, but when I feel like this week's been going well. I'm not sure if it's because we've started a new unit. I teach sixth and seventh, so in seventh grade we're kicking off. We're gonna do book clubs and hero's journey novels. So I think I have a good selection of books to choose from. We'll do some speed dating next time to choose those books in our groups. But right now we're doing the notes. What is the hero's journey? Using a lot of Disney films. So I think they think that's fun. At least seventh grade. So that's been a plus. Sixth grade, we're working with Native American stories. I don't have many years with Native American stories. It's new to me, which has made it kind of fun for me. But both will be working on informative writing based upon their reading. So far, that part's going well. Sixth grade, as opposed to book clubs, we're still doing groupings, and we'll just be working with different stories. They'll choose their favorite story to analyze the elements of in some informative writing. Yeah, I don't know. This week's going better, so that's a rose.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I just realized that I accidentally left the names on. Oh no, wait, it just updated. Okay. I had everything filled out ready to go for today to show you guys the pilot information and share some things. And then it was weird because at the end of the day yesterday, the bosses were kind of like, "Oh, we need to make sure we have the scores from the rubrics and da 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 da. You can't share out, blah blah blah." So just know that I think that the names of the pilots will be coming super super soon, and I wanted to give you kind of some dates and updates for you, and then touch on a few things, and then we'll go to the book study. So let me know if you have any questions or comments in the chat, and I'll try and answer them. But some dates for you. The publishers presented yesterday. We had 4 publishers come in. I feel like I can tell you what publishers they were. Carnegie came in first, and then we had McGraw-Hill for Study Sync. Then we had HMH come in, and that's what elementary went with. And there's a few other districts around us that went with HMH. And then last of the day was Savvis, or their program is called My Perspectives, I think. And then we had a vote on who to move forward out of the 4. 2 of the 4 will move forward for piloting. So the pilot will be February through March. We need to get the pilots done and the evaluations from the teachers before we meet for the March 19th committee meeting, because the committee will decide on March 19th and then start prepping the information to go to the board for the first reading in April. So it goes really, really fast. It's about 3 weeks worth of pilot 1 and 3 weeks worth of pilot 2. If you are interested in piloting, you would have to pilot both, because we want you to be able to compare and say which one you like better than the other. And we got the thumbs up from all of the middle school administrators to allow us to use that June 11th date for a publisher's training. So you would have all of the materials for the new curriculum heading into the summer. You wouldn't probably have student materials, but you'd have teacher materials on that June 11th. So the publisher would be there. in the morning. Well, they'd be there all day, but they'd do a training in the morning, and then you would get the afternoon to plan, ask questions of the publishers if you needed to, etc. So that is kind of the timeline to start with. And then the other thing that we're doing that's going to be slightly different, and we just did a proposal to the PD advisory committee and got a surrounding thumbs up, is we will be doing 1 day a month starting in March of required content training. So I'm excited about that. Now, obviously, we're doing this before we know the committee's final selection. So what we're going to be doing in March and April and May doesn't necessarily rely on who our publisher ends up being. It's just a way for us to kind of come together as a content and kind of I think solidify some of our main ideas around what we are doing in our content areas. We're still working with the PD work group. So that's a small group of teachers that will be meeting once a month to plan what that PD looks like. We have a basic idea, but we're still kind of hunting for outside presenters to come in. So it'll be a little bit on kind of like science of reading, foundational skills. We're going to be diving deep into the adolescent framework. I think I might actually, if you guys are okay with it, send that out to you, and maybe we'll have a little bit of a discussion with our meeting next week or next month, because it will be a major source moving forward for all content areas, which I think is going to be really great because it isn't just a language arts literacy piece. It actually focuses on what literacy looks like in all content areas. So what does it mean to be a reader and a writer in science? What does it mean to be a reader and a writer in math? Like it's going to be amazing. And so there will be some time that we'll kind of dive deep into that, but we're not going to like exhaustively do stuff on that. We do have new targets as well that another PD work group has been working on. So we'll need to go over that as a big group. We obviously have, with this new adoption, a real focus on our multilingual learners. So at least one of those monthly PD trainings will be on strategies for our diverse learners. We're not going to necessarily like zero in specifically on just multilingual, because like there's a larger group, a swath of what we need to kind of focus on. So it's more of a general thing. We're still kind of trying to find a speaker for that. There's a couple of people that we've reached out to, but in the end, we might actually end up bringing in the author from the book study we're doing right now, actually. So we'll see. It's coming up fast, so we're struggling. We really, really wanted to see if we could bring in Penny Kittle and Kelly Gallagher again. Kelly Gallagher is booked for like the next 2 years, so that doesn't look like it will be happening in March, April or May of this year, but we'll see if we can make something happen, because we definitely heard from a lot of the surveys and listening sessions from teachers that when Penny Kittle and Kelly Gallagher came with our previous adoption, that was super well received. So we're still thinking about those kinds of things. So I did give you those dates there. That isn't necessarily put out yet for everybody. I don't exactly know when we're announcing that officially, but I know that our boss has moved forward with it. We shared it with the PD advisory committee. We have the space, reserved and subs and everything. So I'm pretty sure those are the dates moving forward, but not necessarily asking you to share it with your departments just yet, but definitely wanted you guys to know that that's coming up. And if you wanted to make a note to yourself on that, that's totally fine. So March 11th, April 15th, May 27th, and then June 11th, that last day, we have kind of commandeered for us, which I think is going to be great. But a lot of it will depend on obviously getting board approval for the curriculum and a quick turnaround on like paying the publisher and getting those materials to us. HMH was who elementary went with, and it was kind of a chaotic event to get all of the materials to teachers at the end of the year last year, but they were able to do it. So I'm confident that we will be good to go moving into the summer for you guys to kind of go through the materials and wrap your brains around it. So hopefully that is kind of, as we move forward, what is going to happen. As we look at the pilot, here's some kind of ideas and dates for the pilot. Let's see. Sorry, I've got a couple of different screens going on. The pilot interest survey. It's interesting because now I'm seeing this, that I said that it was live, but it's not quite live yet because we had intended to send it out as soon as we came back from winter break. And then we were kind of told to wait. So I think the survey itself will go out to administrators this week. And then I think we can do an all call next week for everybody. Fill it out. I think we're more worried at secondary of not having enough people pilot. So if you know that you have quite a few people at your school that are interested, fill it out, definitely let your admin know that you're interested, because ultimately I think we'll take the list of who has applied and, talk to the admin and make sure they're on board with the fact that you're piloting, etc. And, so definitely let your admin know that you're interested. These are dates that Rebecca and I worked on prior to Thanksgiving because stuff just fills up so fast. And we were trying to keep in mind semester ending, finals week, semester 2 starting and not wanting teachers necessarily to be out, etc. And then also fitting it within the time frame of getting everything done before March 19th of the committee date. So I now have these dates like in my brain, just at rote, I guess. But basically we'll have publisher 1 come in and do a training on February 3rd to have you kind of turn around and start as soon as possible, February 4th through the 21st. So again, that gives you like 3 weeks. I don't know that it will actually be a full unit per se. I guess we'll have to see. But getting as much done or in as you can within that 3 weeks. And then on that 21st date, we'll have teachers fill out an evaluation of their opinion of the publisher. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of time, aren't I? You all need to get back to work. Oh, we didn't even get to the book study. And I didn't even think this was going to take this much time. Okay. So, I'm so sorry. So the publisher will come in on February 20th. Again, we had to be careful with where dates and things were falling. So you still technically will be teaching the first pilot and getting trained for the second one before you're done. But then the second one will start the week after, the 24th. Again, it happened to be where we could get subs and a space. And then that second pilot will go until March 14th. That's the Friday. That 14th will be the day that the second evaluation is due. And then, like I said, the very next week on Wednesday, the committee will make a decision on what we move forward with. And if you are interested in doing the pilot, like I said, the expectation is that you have to do both publishers. So you can't just do one and then the other. We want your opinion on both and which ones felt good. I will say, and Sarah and Danette are on the committee. So if you want to say anything in the chat, feel free. It definitely is something that I think will benefit middle school in terms of providing us with a lot more support for our multilingual learners, for being able to extend. We are being very conscientious still of choice and novel studies and bringing those back. I mean, there's definitely more of, I think, of at the high school level, doing a lot more novel studies, and then, peppering in novel studies at the middle school level. But we're definitely looking at publishers that provide us with quite a bit of choice, even though I'll just say they both are kind of textbook based. They both have a lot of online support and content, support for our multilingual learners, and support for you as a teacher. I think also included in this rollout will be some PLC groups that will potentially go through, because I think some of it could be overwhelming. So kind of going through all of the like online materials and maybe creating some modules and things as suggested starting points. I feel like that would be a good use of our time, to be perfectly honest. And I don't know if I mentioned this on a previous slide, but February 13th, if you are interested in helping us rewrite the new standards and or start working on rubrics, I know that Sarah and Danette are on that committee, I think. So you guys definitely need to make sure that you have the 13th of February planned for a sub. It will be full day. But if anyone else is interested in starting to work on some rubrics, you can also sign up for that. Let me know and I'll put you on that list. But be on the lookout, I think, too, for some of these other work groups that are coming up for us to think about. And I'm seeing that we're really running out of time. Did anyone get to read the introduction in chapter 1? I felt like it was really good, getting us kind of thinking about how it looks in our classroom when we're doing actual culturally relevant practices. I love that she is a middle school English teacher. So as we get farther into the book, there's going to be very specific examples on how we can kind of like approach this. But I do like the idea of us thinking a little bit about bias and how that manifests in our classroom. Next time we're going to be looking at chapter 2. Let me know how we might want to go through with this. I honestly did not expect, I thought that this would take the bulk of our time getting to the book study. So I really apologize that I ran out of time. I guess, let's see. So yeah, February 13th, I mentioned that target and rubric writing. March 11th, if you want to go ahead and mark that down as well for the first training day that is required for all content areas. And the way that we split it up was that middle school will come together just like the old days and we'll all be together. And then we had to split up. Okay, good, Carolyn. We can maybe look at a Padlet. That sounds good. I'll look into that and I'll send that out in our follow-up. Thank you. So we had to split up high schools. So it's going to be AP high schools and IB high schools. So 75 teachers and like 50, 60 teachers. And then for us, it's like a full 75, 78, something like that. So we'll all be coming together on that March 11th, April 15th, May 27th. We had to go later in May because that's when AP and IB testing is happening and every space is full for May. So we had to wait until the end of May. And then we'll come up on June 11th. So like to me, on my end, it's just going fast. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of like what's coming and you can kind of answer some questions if anybody brings it up in your department. And I'll let you get on with your day. I'm so sorry I ran a little bit over. I'll look at getting a Padlet for the book study so that we can have some ideas and questions. And I will send out the pay form information to have you fill out and send back to me. Thank you, everyone. I apologize that I went over. I appreciate everyone sharing their roses and thorns as well today. And Deb, I'm so glad that it was a positive thing for your staff. That's good to know going into Friday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.